For this video cast, we're going to head outside of the Walt Disney World Resort and over to Lake Eola. I mentioned in the preview that the post-Parkside apartment complex had probably one of the most significant influences on Walt Disney World. And I'm not kidding. That's not hyperbole or anything like that. That's true. This building used to be the Cherry Plaza Hotel. Now, why is the Cherry Plaza Hotel important? Well, back in 1965, a young reporter had discovered that there was a number of purchases being made of land in Central Florida. All this land was being bought up by some developers, some development companies, but clearly there was a land acquisition going on. And this reporter, she was an entertainment reporter, and she started to see that, and there was a lot of speculation brewing about who was buying the land. Was it an aerospace industry? Was it some large company that was going to come to Central Florida and bring jobs? Nobody really knew. So this reporter, her name was Emily Bavar, and she worked for the Orlando Sentinel, and she had this idea that, perhaps it could be Walt Disney. Walt was doing all these other projects. Maybe he was thinking about coming to Central Florida. After the success of the 1964 World's Fair, clearly he was looking to expand his reach and his footprint and some of the things he was planning on doing. So he had an idea for something he wanted to do, and she was thinking maybe that was him. So as luck would have it, she actually went to the 10th anniversary of Disneyland back in September of 1965 and was greeted by Walt Disney in his office. And she asked him, "Walt, are you the guy who's making the land purchases?" And Walt had a notoriously bad poker face, and Walt just kind of smiled and blushed a little and said, "I don't know what you're talking about," and tried to brush her off. And she knew she had her guy. Now, she did some other research and figured out that it was him. And then on October 21st of 1965, the Orlando Sentinel finally put out an article that said, "We say mystery buyer is Disney." And then on November 15th, 1965, the governor of Florida at the time, Hayden Burns, along with Walt Disney and several other people in the Walt Disney Company and several other people who were affiliated in the state of Florida, came here to this hotel, the Cherry Plaza Hotel at the time, and went to the ballroom there. And there's the famous picture of Walt Disney sitting with Governor Burns, and they're talking about the Walt Disney project. Now, if you watch the video of the press release, it's interesting because Walt's a little bit cagey. He's not exactly committal to everything that's going on. He's being very quiet and thinking it through. And the reason for that has a lot to do with the way that the whole St. Louis deal turned out and the fact that the tables turned on him a little bit late in the game. And he wasn't able to build what he wanted to build. So there was that piece to the puzzle that Walt was being very diplomatic and careful to not go too far because he didn't want somebody to undercut what he had in mind. Now, here it was, this was just about a year before Walt died. So, here he was trying to set up something that was a really grand plan, very ambitious and something he wanted to do, trying not to tell anybody too much, but he had a plan. And he was trying to do something to build this research park to bring industry together. After what had happened and his success in the 1964 World's Fair, Disney saw an opportunity to bring together the best and the brightest minds to come up with some ideas and money to be able to share things that he saw and be able to talk to some of the, bring in companies that could share their best ideas, and he could get them to work together in sort of a research park and share these ideas and these thoughts and sharing the money, and of course bring in his Imagineers so that they could test it at either their theme parks or around in the research park. So really it was kind of clever. It was very smart, very shrewd of Disney to figure this out and figure out how to do it. But I think the fact that he still had only acquired the land and still had to figure out how to use it was a problem for him. There's a video of the contingents of Walt Disney's group coming into the hotel, and it works something like this. They walk up from this side, they came from the side street, and they walk in right through the door here.
Well, Mr. Governor, this has been a wonderful reception that you've given us here. All the faces seem friendly, and we feel very much at home. And of course, this is this big, exciting project for us too. I mean, in fact, it's the biggest thing we've ever tackled. But I think that to have this enthusiasm on the part of our whole organization and on the part of the people of the state of Florida really is a good start. And we hope that what we develop here will be a real credit to the state, a credit to the Disney organization. And I might say that when we were planning Disneyland, and we hoped that we could build something that would command the respect of the community. And after 10 years, I feel that we've accomplished that. Not only the community, but the country as a whole. And that is actually what we hope to do here, is to really develop something that, well, just more than an entertainment enterprise. It's something that contributes in many other ways. Well, educationally, and the one thing is that, to me, the important thing is the family. And if you can keep that family together with things, and that's been the backbone of our whole business, catering to the families. Well, at this stage, Governor, it's hard to spell it all out. The Disneyland operation is unique, and out of the 10 years' experience at Disneyland, we've learned an awful lot. And it's like anything that after you've done something, you see with the experience and all of that, what you might do if you were starting from scratch. And here, after taking a look at the land this morning, I say we are starting from scratch. But we have many things in mind that could make this unique and different than Disneyland.
Will it be a Disneyland?
Well, I've always said there will never be another Disneyland, Governor, and I think it's going to work out that way. But it will be the equivalent of Disneyland. We know the basic things that have this, what I call, family appeal. But there's many ways that you can use those certain basic things and give them a new decor, a new treatment. But this concept here will have to be something that is unique, and so that there is a distinction between Disneyland in California and whatever Disney does. Notice I didn't say Disneyland in Florida. Whatever Disney does in Florida. And we have many ideas. I have a wonderful staff now that have had 10 years' experience of designing, planning, and operating. In fact, we did the 4 shows at the World's Fair, and it was a new departure for us. It was something we'd never tackled before. And fortunately, they were 4 very successful shows at the New York World's Fair.
Would you care to define some of those ideas?
Well, I got a lot of them, and I haven't worked them out, and I haven't proven them out. I carry ideas around my head for a long time, and I'll kind of keep working them out as I carry them around. But when I go ahead and throw it up to my team, then I can firm it up. And I don't think at this stage, well, I mean, I got so darn many, we take up the whole afternoon. And, but it isn't right to put them out at this stage. It isn't. You got to firm up a little bit. Well, we've been making a survey of potential locations for an additional type of operation like Disneyland for the last 10 years. We surveyed the whole eastern coast, and then we narrowed it down to regions like Florida. Disney World, that term has been used in many ways in our business. They refer to, we have a publication called the Disney World, which encompasses all of our activities for our employees and our offices all over the world. The Disney World is something we've been using. Now, whether
Disney World of Color?
Wonderful World of Color.
Wonderful World.
On NBC at Sunday nights, etc. But we've been using the term Disney World to encompass all of our activities. Now, what we'll call this here, we haven't got into that. That takes a little study.
And that's the general story of how Walt Disney was first introduced to Florida.